3 weeks after Blood Moon's release of his unauthorized new biography of Hollywood superstar Rock Hudson, the producers of The Bill Feingold Show, broadcasting from Palm Springs, California, invited me, the book's co-author and publisher, to discuss its implications. Here's how things went down with Rock Hudson, Bill Feingold, and me, Danforth Prince, on November 21st, 2017, live on Palm Springs' most popular talk radio show during the peak of the California desert's morning commute.
This is a perfect song to talk about Rock Hudson. 7:38, Bulldog and Kevin, and we are joined by one of our favorite people, and Kevin just loves the way Danforth Prince puts a sentence together.
I do.
He loves your vocabulary, the way you put a sentence together. Danforth and Darwin Porter have written a wonderful book, Rock Hudson Erotic Fire. How are you, Danforth?
Oh, I'm terrific. I'm so happy to talk to y'all.
Yeah, it's all good. And in fact, the oldest gossip columnist in the world, Cindy Adams, loved the book.
Yes, she did. And I love Cindy Adams. She's been very nice to us. Good for her. Yay, Cindy.
Yeah, Cindy Adams' hair hasn't moved since 1942. But so, Darwin, tell people a little bit about Rock Hudson Erotic Fire so they'll order the book and find out things about Rock Hudson that it's going to shock them.
I hope it shocks them. Indeed, it's a jaded age we live in. It's been 32 years since Rock died of AIDS in 1985. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
In those 32 years, a lot of new information has crept into the vocabulary of American showbiz history. We've done our best to talk to as many people who had a story to tell about Rock Hudson as we could possibly compile.
Right.
And documenting the life of Rock has been sort of like a lotus opening slowly, that every year after his death, more people came forth to tell the tales, of which there are many, and many of them circulating, I understand, around Palm Springs, some of which you are an authority on yourself, I have been made to understand.
Well, Kevin might have told you, but recently, Liz Smith passed away, and I got to meet a lot of people. But in 1985, I was a stockbroker at Merrill Lynch, and I shared, there were like four of us in this cubicle, but the man I shared the cubicle with was an elderly man who was Rock Hudson's stockbroker, Wally Sheft. So that day, Frank Kister left to go to the racetrack, and I said, I'll watch everything. And maybe an hour later, I picked up the phone. It was Wally Sheft. And I said, how can I help you? And he said, please wire $250,000. And he gave me this address to Paris. And I said, Mr. Sheft, why are you sending this money to Paris? And he said, Rock Hudson's dying, and they're chartering a plane to bring him home to die. So, and then I called Liz Smith right away, and she got the scoop of the century. Yeah.
And that was quite difficult. I think it was Air France that he flew on, and the plane would not take off because of the dangerous cargo inside until they had the $250,000 in cash in hand before the plane would leave the tarmac. So,
and your friend Bill Feingold sent that $250,000.
Well, that's very much part of the drama that was associated with the notoriety of his death from AIDS. Nobody knew what to do about AIDS.
Right.
The fact that Rock got it at all was a shock to the Hollywood community and a wake-up call.
Right.
That maybe it might not be smart to be quite so promiscuous, if you know what I mean.
Yes, and that got Elizabeth Taylor very active because she was such good friends with Rock Hudson. And again, in the book, you document that she and Rock were even more than friends.
Yes, indeed. And Liz Taylor came through in magnificent ways. Back when it was very dicey and very dangerous to be pro-AIDS or pro-empathetic, even to someone who had contracted the dreaded syndrome.
Right.
So the book, of course, is about Rock Hudson, but more than that, it's an overview of the big word here, the zeitgeist of Hollywood in the dying embers of Hollywood's golden age. His heyday as a moneymaker was between, I think, 1957 and 1964, when he was one of the very top box-selling attractions of the world in whatever he did.
He was the top box office male star for 7 years, which is amazing.
We like to call him in the advertising copy, he was America's favorite lust object and phallic symbol.
That's our little Rock. I have one other quick story you'll enjoy. That it could have been Rock Hudson. A couple of times, I had a house on Fire Island I rented with friends, and there was the Islander bus. You might know the Islanders Club. So you would take this glamorous bus to the ferry and go take the ferry, and then it would take you home. So one day I'm coming back on a Sunday, and I get to the bus, and the guy who ran the Ologist Club said, "Oh, the bartender's not showing up. He doesn't feel well. Will you bartend?" I said, "Well, I don't know how to bartend, but, okay." They said you get a free ride, you get your tips. Well,
another experience for you, yes, as a young man, yes.
Rock Hudson gets on the bus with his friends. Rock Hudson is wearing very tight white jeans. This is very key. Rock Hudson, I go and I say, "Oh, Mr. Hudson, can I get you a drink?" And he says, "A Bloody Mary." Well, I go make him a Bloody Mary, and you know what happened when I delivered the drink. The bus made a short stop, and I poured it all over his white jeans. And I had a towel with me, like tucked it like that. So I started blotting him, and he gave me a look like, "It's okay. It's okay.
Get away from me."
Yeah. I said, I'll replace that for you. He was very nice, actually.
Every star, Bill, like you, has an embarrassment of his past. How kind of you to share it with the Coachella Valley.
Right.
Now, but Rock Hudson slept with women as well as men.
Well, I think the wording that we developed was that he was heterosexual for career advancement.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
Which is quite an ironic twist because some actors are gay for career advancement. Rock, on the other hand, was heterosexual for career advancement, yet managed to emote beautifully with women during his love scenes on camera in ways that many of them, Salome Jens was one, really came back with praise for his authenticity in his love scenes with her.
Yeah, and Salome Jens was hot. Kevin has no idea.
I have no idea who that is.
Yeah.
Well, Mistress of JFK, she talked about it the rest of her life. That one night stand she had with JFK, she dined out on it the rest of her life.
Now, is the book is currently out, sir? It's out?
Yeah, the book was released on Halloween because I needed to do a sort of trick-or-treating with Rock. It's Halloween. What are we going to do this year? We're going to go trick-or-treating with Rock Hudson.
So people can go on Amazon and all those places?
Yeah, it's in all the stores, and it's on that very good store I like called Greetings on Palm Canyon Drive up by the Hyatt, I think. Yeah. They're a great store, and they carried it before any other retail outlet in the world.
Yeah, but it's called Rock Hudson Erotic Fire. It's sort of sad that he couldn't lead the life he really wanted to lead, Rock Hudson.
Well, I think that by the time 30 years has passed and all the revisionistic stories have come in and all the commentaries have been made and all the enemies and all the frenemies and all the ends have talked about him, the book is indeed an insight into the sexual mores of Hollywood during the last days of its golden age.
Right.
The concealment of the homosexuality, the double standards of it all, the winking and blinking. And in light of, like, Harvey Weinstein and the revelations about molestation that go on right now, Rock would have had a better story than any of the actresses who came forward these days. I mean, Rock was molested to death and back. Yeah. I hope this is not a tangent, but I believe that sexual allure and sexual styles come in and out of fashion. And Rock was fresh back from the trenches of World War II as a sailor he had been in the Philippines. And bringing to Hollywood, he brought this incredible macho sailor's allure, and the gay men who ran the studios would view him as an insight into what the guys were doing, the guys on the front, the guys who won the war for us, our heroes.
Wow.
And when they were men among men, how were they? And they looked at Rock, this hot sailor, as indeed a very desirable. And he was handsome, and he was charming, and he was funny, and he was emotionally intelligent.
Yes.
And imagine he could act, and he was fun, and he was a great foil for actresses who would play off against his incredibly macho, completely masculine charms with no insult intended to effeminate gay men. I do not mean that as an insult in any way, but it was noteworthy how relentlessly macho he was, and what a surprise it was when his revelation of his death by AIDS revealed a whole aspect to the gay world that nobody had thought of before, really.
And, well, I mean, people knew. One of my uncles was a vice president of Columbia Pictures, and they said, every once in a while he would go off the, deep end when he was filming, Pillow Talk or something. I said to my uncle, "What does that mean?" He said he wanted to wear an earring in one scene. That was like, oh, my God.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, but now... What interesting was when you were watching Dynasty, and then comes Rock Hudson, and you say, "Oh my God, he has AIDS." The whole country knew just looking at him.
Well, I think the great and the mighty and the successful can be very non-smart about the impression that they make. I mean, it's easy to live in one's bubble.
Right.
The Shah of Iran is my favorite example of somebody who just does not get the new reality until the revolution has come and toppled his throne.
Yeah, he says, "Oops." Yeah.
Oops.
But then, I mean, and then the terrible picture of him with Doris Day when he went up to Doris Day, to help raise money for, saving animals and everything. He just said, "Poor Rock Hudson," and then he had to kiss Linda Evans on Dynasty, and the whole country. Linda Evans is afraid to kiss him.
I think that the points you're making are very valid indeed about the end of his career,
Yeah.
and a lot of the new viewers of Hollywood remember those scenes in particular, as well they should, blah, blah. But the book really is a celebration of his peak years when
Yes.
he was wonderful.
Yeah.
I mean, charming, could melt steel.
Yeah, gorgeous. He was he was a hunk.
Gorgeous, handsome, but the key word that I really want to use is utterly charming.
Okay.
I mean, and disarming, and he would go to parties and just everyone would just be relaxed. And from the Midwest, by the way, that
Right.
great Middle Western charm when it gets sophisticated, it gets really good. Those Middle Western guys. I'm from Chicago, by the way.
Okay, I can tell you. And Kevin is really from Nebraska, so
That's right.
we talk.
Hey, Kevin.
Hello.
Kevin, good for us.
Yes.
Yay.
Yeah.
We talk about
We're
cows
charming.
a lot. Yeah.
Yes. Well, we disarm our victims before we
Well,
ensnare
Danforth,
them.
it's a very interesting book, and it traces, a very historic time in Hollywood, and Rock Hudson certainly. Wow, what a guy and what a career. It's called Rock Hudson Erotic Fire, and it's by Darwin Porter and Danforth Prince, and it's available at Greetings here in Palm Springs, or just go to Amazon. And it's a big book, but some of the pictures and some of the captions I cannot read on the radio, but they're fabulous.
Well, we are doing work that no one else is doing in America.
Yeah.
We really are making the last hurrah of bringing these oral histories to the light of publication before all the witnesses die forever. And I don't think anyone will follow up with a better book on Rock Hudson or the other ones we've done, James Dean, Steve McQueen, the others.
Yeah, no, you've done great work.
That's right.
It takes about 30 years for all the stories to filter down into a coherent whole that you can look at and examine.
Right.
That is what we are doing at Blood Moon Productions. We're very honored by your interest.
Well, you're doing a great job, and you're still on Staten Island, right?
Yeah, I run an Airbnb there called Magnolia House, magnoliahousestgeorge.com.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And it's a celebrity-centric Airbnb where people can spend the night and chit-chat about Hollywood and its stars. And
That's great.
It's great fun.
Well,
Really good reviews from Airbnb.
Danforth, you must come back to Palm Springs because Palm Springs is booming. You wouldn't
Yes.
recognize it. You wouldn't recognize it. We are really rocking it now. So
I would love to. I will have to reinvent myself and totter on out there and babble on. Imagine I could be an authority for 10 minutes and with my dignity intact.
you'd be most popular here. Danforth Prince, have a wonderful Thanksgiving and a
Yes.
great
Happy
Christmas.
holidays.
Name of the book is Rock Hudson Erotic Fire. It's a real fun book. Great book, things you've never heard of, with Rock Hudson. So we thank you, Danforth, and have a great holiday, okay?
Happy Thanksgiving to all of you. Many, many thanks, Bill, Kevin.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Danforth.
You're listening to Bulldog and Kevin. It's 94.3 K News.